Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Born to be Wild Listener Series Season 5 quarterfinals. So we are now in the top 8. The regular season has tailed off, and we are now into the playoffs. And so tonight, I'm joined by my good friend and co-host, Electric Sheep City. We are going to be casting the match of Frank versus SchmoopieDaddy. We are, this is week 6 in this series, and so everyone hopefully by now is kind of familiar with our setup, but a little bit of kind of a pre-game here, quickly going over the format. The Born to be Wild Listener Series is a weekly Wild Hearthstone tournament series with custom deck building restrictions each week. This series is played in the Conquest format. So each week, players submit 4 decks consisting of separate classes. Classes and deck lists are hidden until after the weekly submission deadline. Once classes and deck lists are revealed, players have an opportunity to review and ban one of their opponent's decks. Ban selections are hidden until both players have submitted their bans, at which point they are revealed. In the Conquest format, when a player wins with a deck, that player must then move on to a different deck. The losing player may switch decks, but is not required to do so. The victor is the first player to win matches with all 3 decks. For those of you watching along today, whether you're watching it live here on Twitch or on YouTube later, just a quick heads up of how this works. Players are represented by avatars and decks are represented by their class icons. Ban decks are marked with a red X and the winning decks are marked with a green check. So you see the portrait there, the class icons to the right. The green check indicates that a player has won with that class or deck, indicating that it can no longer be played. The red X again indicating a banned class or deck that cannot be played. So let us jump then into this week's lore segment.
Yeah, so this week, the quarterfinals is called Naga Sea Witches. We will kick it over to our recorded lore master, Goliath the Dwarf, for a bit of story time.
Retaining their natural talent for magic from their days as highborn sorcerers, many Naga were masters of arcane magic. Additionally, Queen Azshara taught her fearsome sea witches to wield the powerful scepter Sharas'dal, which they used to spread the Naga's dominion and crush all that oppose them.
Yeah, so in line with our story time there, our lore segment, the primary challenge for this week is that each deck must contain at least 8 spell damage cards or minions. The secondary challenge for this week as well is that all creatures must be odd and all spells must be even, or vice versa. So the vice versa being all creatures or minions must be even and all spells must be odd. So in any given deck, if creatures are odd or even, the spells must be the opposite of that thing. So those are our deck building restrictions for this week. Nate, will you tell us a little bit about the decks?
Absolutely. So let's look at Frank's decks first. Frank brought Hunter, Demon Hunter, Mage, and Shaman. The Demon Hunter has been banned. So looking quickly at the Hunter, it is a questline Hunter, so defend the Dwarven District. And so we're looking at primarily a bunch of
odd spells.
Odd spells here. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely. I think that'll be really interesting. It seems like a strong deck and well suited here. Looking over at the Mage, I do see Wildfire in the deck and Mortar's Fire Eye. So we're looking at a ping mage or a spell damage mage. It should be a lot of fun. Always love to see it. There is 2 copies of Ice Block. So, which if y'all recall was one of our season wide bans last season. We decided to undo that this time around. But this should be a fun deck here. I see Reckless Apprentice. And Magister Dawn Grasp, and so Ping Mage should be a lot of fun to witness. And then finally the Shaman deck over here.
Looking like a burn shaman. So we've got, of course, bioluminescence. So our spells here are odd. But we do have a lot of course, spell damage increasing, particularly even cost minions. So Blood Mage Thalnos, Imprisoned Phoenix, Rune Dagger, and then, of course, Draw with Multicaster, and you don't have a board with Snowfall Guardian in that Avalanche. So a pretty cool burn shaman there as well. So really excited to see that one play out.
Cool. Yeah, and Brucon of the elements at the top end, which really can swing some games. And honestly, if nothing else, there is the option of 6 damage to the face. All right, so let's then switch here over to SchmoopieDaddy's decks. SchmoopieDaddy brought Mage, Druid, Hunter, and Paladin, and the Mage was banned.
Yeah, so Schmoopie's Druid is a questline Druid. So we've got, of course, Lost in the Park, our questline there, a number of different spell damage minions, kind of Blood Mage Thalnos being a pretty solid staple, and then different odd cost ways to increase your attack with things like Feral Rage, Moon Touched Amulet, stuff like that. Of course, we've also got our we don't actually have the Park Panther. I thought that would be in there. Interesting. So I'm excited to see this one go off. And of Schmoopie also in this quest druid is playing both Wild Heart Guff and Malfurion the Pestilent. So really interested to see that one play out.
Oh, very cool. Looking at this Hunter list, honestly, when I see this, it looks like Face Hunter to me. Of course, there's the prerequisite spell damage cards, but it looks very aggressive to me. With the you've got Og Merchant, you've got Trog, Peasant, Wilpertingers, and just
Trampling Rhino,
yeah, Bear Shark. Wow. Hey, this is great. Beastmaster or Beaststalker Tavish on the top end. So that should be fun. Yeah. And then we do see one Baku deck. So odd Paladin in the lineup here.
So of course that means there are no spells in this deck. So everything is odd cost, which means that those are all minions. Which also means that things like Azure Drake are being played more for the card draw than anything else. The spell damage on things like Azure Drake are just there to meet the requirement, but can sometimes have a side benefit as well. So things like Steward of Scrolls, also spell damage +1, but Battle Cry, discover a spell. So Schmoopie made sure to check the box to activate the spell damage requirement without actually running any spells. So I'll be interested to see how that progresses. It is, at the end of the day, still odd Paladin.
That is an Arcane Watcher that I see there as well.
Oh my, it sure is.
I have not seen play in a long time. For those of you not familiar, this is a 3-mana 5/6 that says cannot attack unless you have spell damage. Which very likely going to have spell damage with spell damage requirement here. So, wow, 4-mana 7/7, 3-mana 5/6. Just Hearthstone things. All right, well, without further ado, let's let our competitors know that we can get started when they're ready. I'm very excited to see, and both of our players here have an incredible record. It's been a great run. I think we were mentioning earlier, I think Frank is undefeated at this point. And, but regardless, like, we are in store for some amazing games tonight. And I'm really excited to be here. This is the highlight of my week.
Yeah, the highlight of mine as well. And Frank is undefeated, but we're now in the playoffs where everyone is essentially undefeated until you actually lose a match, in which case you're out of there. So very excited to see them play, to see them face off in this quarterfinal match to determine who will be in the final four.
Absolutely. Okay, I just messaged them in game as well. I know sometimes it's tricky to bounce back and forth between Discord and in client, and from time to time we have these lovely spectate bugs, so I just want to make sure that we're good to go. And until then.
Dun, 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 dun.
All right, they are getting started, so let us switch over here.
So we're seeing Frank start off with that mage and Schmoopie start off with that hunter. So face hunter versus ping mage.
Love it. Ping mage is secretly like it's one of my favorite decks. It's not that it's particularly good. I just really enjoy it. It's super fun.
So much fun. Schmoopie with a good curve with Wolpertinger into Doggy Biscuit into either Harpoon Gun or Bear Shark. Bear Shark seems like it could be poised pretty well here with not being able to be targeted by that hero power, which Frank does buff up on turn 1.
Yeah, nothing like a wildfire turn 1, but turn 2, 3, 4 is really something right there. Let me move my mouse over here, actually accidentally covering up cards. But, you know, Frank does have the coin. I think if he wants to, he can use First Flame, coin hero power, and take out that 3-4.
Yeah, or even hold on to the coin and just use the second flame on it as well.
Oh, yeah. I know we are wanting to progress the Mordresh by using hero power a lot, but I think that's much more mana efficient. The coin could be valuable in other areas. This 4-3 is going to present a big problem for Frank, not being able to target it. What a heads-up inclusion.
Absolutely. And Schmoopie did, like, it seemed like hard mulligan, if not for that Bear Shark in particular, that was the benefit of it. And if I know Schmoopie, it's probably a hard mulligan for that Bear Shark to take advantage of the favorable matchup.
Yeah. Now, there are still some ways to, you know, take it out. It's going to be a lot more difficult, but I think the... oh gosh, what's it called? The, you know, the one that does damage to everything on board. Definitely will do the trick, assuming that the hero power can do 3. Or cards like the Mask of Cthulhu that can damage the whole board.
Yeah, and that Mask of Cthulhu could very well be coming down before too long, but it is still a ways off. So Schmoopie pressing his advantage, equipping the Harpoon Gun, and tutoring out. Unfortunately for Schmoopie, no beasts there, but does put that quick shot on the top of his deck. That quick shot being up at the top of his deck means that he is drawing that this next turn.
Reckless Apprentice was the name that I was looking for. Unfortunately for Frank, like, this Face Hunter is doing work, and Frank is down to 9 health on turn 6 here. Wow, and with hero power down to 1, my goodness.
And it looks like Schmoopie didn't even necessarily choose that from that discover effect, because he knows that he can push the button and steady shot down.
Yeah, I mean, even with 2 ice blocks, there's this Face Hunter is just so fast. So I think heads up play with the Dawn Grasp here because of the armor.
I have an idea.
So Frank drawing 2 cards and gaining some armor here. At least buys him a little bit of extra turn, but
yeah, with caster vision, we can see that it won't quite be enough though, because that trampling rhino is buffed up from the scavenger's ingenuity. Since that Reckless Apprentice was bumped, that'll do 5. A steady shot will finish the job.
Very quick game 1 here. So SchmoopieDaddy taking game 1, getting the win with the Hunter. So let me just put the check mark on that. Wow. Well, that was fast.
And furious, just like Face Hunter likes it.
Deck worked as intended.
Absolutely. So now, Schmoopie still has the Paladin and the
Quest Druid.
Quest Druid, thank you. Yeah, that Questline Druid's going to be fun to watch. So Frank re-queuing the
hand.
the mage, and we see 2 ice blocks in that opening hand, but he does toss them away.
Yeah, well, look at this. I think this is a good inclusion for, or a good pickup for Frank. The Reckless Apprentice here against a opponent who wants to play a whole bunch of 1/1 tokens. And again, Wildfire on 1. We are here for the tour.
Reporting for duty.
Schmoopie coining out either a Trog or a peasant. Probably the peasant.
What is it?
Yeah. Ooh, and Frank getting a second Reckless Apprentice.
Not awesome choices here for the discover a spell damage minion. I don't think any of them are really what we're looking for here.
Mana Reservoir can be more easily woven in. So I imagine that that's what Frank will pick up, but none of them are really particularly appealing. Evolved Kobold being the extra spell damage is kind of relevant. Archmage being so expensive may not be the play, but hey, Frank saw some benefit of it. So we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah. I will say having 2 copies of the Reckless Apprentice is really going to be handy in this matchup.
Mm-hmm. And so Frank with a pretty straightforward turn this time. Kill off a couple dudes.
Yeah, no, that's what it wants to do. And you know what? Actually, I think, you know, the goal of Ping Mage is use your hero power as many times as possible so that you can activate your Mordresh. And we, I think, undoubtedly are going to see one of these Reckless Apprentices come down this turn and probably just clear off the whole board.
Oh, yeah. And Frank, knowing that Schmoopie's already played the coin, so he can't play things like the Quartermaster, actually pretty heads up last turn holding on to that second flame because he knows that he'll be able to get the additional ping with this Reckless Apprentice. So heads up play there.
Arcane Watcher, wow. Well, there's spell damage minion in hand, so this can potentially attack next turn. Frank's got some options here, and you have to wonder if Frank wants to try to kill this thing off. 5 damage is quite a bit. It's a pretty large body.
It is. Frank does have the option to draw with that refreshing spring water, and as long as he gets at least one spell.
Love the BM. It's great. Well, there's a spell damage minion.
Yeah, that Aug Merchant can give the Arcane Watcher itself spell damage, which means that it'll always be active as long as it is on the board.
Trog and a broom. Okay, so
investing pretty heavily here to clear off that Reckless Apprentice, but it's not going to reward Frank by having that second Reckless Apprentice in hand. And most notably, going face with that Ancient Watcher. Arcane Watcher, sorry.
So it looks like Frank's considering taking out the Trog. I know that interferes with his game plan quite a bit because of all the spells in hand.
Yeah, it kind of does, but he also could kind of be rewarded for having the spell damage minion on board. You could second flame into the Arcane Watcher and then Reckless Apprentice as well. But he's holding on to that for a wider board, and I can definitely see why.
This Arcane Blast doing 4 potentially as well.
Time runs out on me.
Okay. He chooses to clean it up with the hero power, which makes sense, really. I think we still counting down to want to make our Mordresh work.
And that pickup of the volcanic potion will just continue to allow Frank to deal with more wide boards. So good pickup there.
I've heard of it.
Well, this inclusion of the Archmage actually has been putting in work. I mean, because it had 7 health, it's really been able to put in a lot of work taking out some big minions.
Really has. Schmoopie having to invest a second broomstick in order to just clean it up. Keep it from continually trading. And we'll see that volcanic potion come down. Clear up a little bit more of that board. And another discover effect. Discovered for Frank. It's looking like it's just the slow march towards this ping mage taking victory at this point.
Yeah, I kind of think so. I mean,
Reporting for duty.
there are a lot of tools in this deck that can successfully clear the board over and over and over. Yeah, look at this. Frank is polymorph jellyfishing the lion over here. Salad's Pride to prevent SchmoopieDaddy from drawing additional cards, which feels like a pretty heads-up play.
And wondering if he wants to pull the trigger on the Reckless Apprentice at this juncture. Decides to go forward with that, and that is the last AoE that Frank has at the very least in hand. But, of course, Frank just went face for 3 from the Reckless Apprentice hero power, 3 from his own hero power, and 3 from the multicaster. So going face for 9 while clearing up Schmoopie's board.
Yeah, well, and Frank has got this Dawn Grasp on hand, and I have to imagine, so it'll replay one of the wildfires, and that hero power is going to do so much damage that
No one can break us.
I wonder if that's the thought there. A couple of secrets here from Schmoopie. One is Competitive Spirit, the other is Eye for an Eye. Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it really is. So relevantly, Frank has also played First Flame and Second Flame, so it's not guaranteed for Dawn Grasp to play the Wildfire.
Oh, good call.
But it will upgrade the hero power regardless by virtue of Dawn Grasp's hero power upgrade as a whole. So definitely relevant there too.
Oh my goodness. That is another Reckless Apprentice.
It sure is.
I imagine we see it coming down right now, clearing up the
We
board
sure
again,
do.
and
This is your moment.
Yep, Schmoopie saw the writing on the wall. Frank had him in check, and we are tied up 1-1.
all right. While we're waiting for them to get started, looking at this ping mage real quick, I was a big fan of the archetype, and we didn't even see Mordresh come down. Really interesting pick by Frank of the potion. What is it? Potion of Illusion that gives you the 1/1 copies to get an extra copy of Reckless Apprentice. That, like, wow, it just cleaned house there. So that leaves Frank with the Quest Hunter and this Burn Shaman. All right, game 3 is SchmoopieDaddy back with the Odd Paladin and Frank up top with the Burn Shaman here.
Yeah, and we'll see which one can kind of get its progression done first. Frank not finding any AoE, but does pull that rune dagger to be able to start trading around. Schmoopie, of course, immediately going wide.
Reporting for duty.
exactly what you want to see if you are that SchmoopieDaddy.
Yeah. Well, it's not a great position for Frank to be in here, unfortunately.
So Schmoopie can take care of this Volner on board. And, you know, with us, with caster vision, we can see that there's not really a punish for SchmoopieDaddy if we were to leave it alive. But it is just such a high priority target that Schmoopie feels like he has to take care of it. And I don't blame him.
Right. No, I agree. And it was like, these guys are playing so fast, which is kind of funny.
You've heard of Speed Chess, but have you heard of Speed Hearthstone? Yes, it's called Nosdormu.
And again, with the special deck building restrictions for this week, each deck does have to have at least 8 cards in it that say spell damage on them. And so that's why we see some kind of strange inclusions in these decks here that you wouldn't otherwise see. But this is quite a match. They're definitely seem very viable. These are very, very strong opponents here. Oh my goodness, that is a
Oh,
How incredible!
what a pick to get off of that portal.
that was so clutch for Frank here. Because, of course, the cook itself does have lifesteal, but more relevantly, the death rattle of equip a 2/3 stirring rod with lifesteal is just going to heal Frank for so much. So
Yeah.
Schmoopie is, I'm sure, just shaking his head right now, seeing that cookie come down.
No.
Reporting for duty.
Yeah, and Smoopy not even wanting to kill it, which I really can't say I blame him. You don't want to be giving your opponent health here.
Yeah, the way to kill it for Schmoopie would have been to trade at least 2 dudes into it, and then Ethereal Og Merchant, or trade 3 dudes into it. So heal Frank for either 4 or 6, as well as give him the lifesteal weapon. No.
Yeah.
The light dims.
So Schmoopy, now that he has the Righteous Protector, lifesteal won't get any effect trading into that bubble. So Schmoopy heads up knowing that he can deal with the cookie there, only healing Frank for 2 more, so 1 hit, as well as kind of preventing the next bit of damage from being life stolen. Kind of
Yeah.
playing around that cookie as best he can.
I imagine Frank probably wants to get, maybe you can clear the this Righteous Protector with a couple of these Piranha Swarmers, and then still attack in with the 2/3. Really, when you're playing against Odd Paladin, like, you have to clear this board before the Quartermaster comes down, or you are in big trouble. I think the other piece we see, Brucon of the Elements in hand of Frank over here. And if Frank can stall just a little bit longer, that's a full board clear in itself.
Yes.
And another schooling. Wow, okay.
Another one. And even though these piranhas are buffed up, they are just trading with these dudes because, like you said, that Quartermaster, which Schmoopy would have had too.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, you know, heads up play by Frank here. Like, they look like 1/1s, but you have to make them priority targets. They're too dangerous. Looks like Frank's considering using this Lava Burst and maybe killing the Azure Drake with it. Maybe?
Yeah. We saw him kind of hover over that Brucon, and I think that is the only reason we won't see that lava burst come down.
Oh, no,
he
the
wants
overload.
to be able to deal with these. Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. No. Good.
So I think it was a consideration.
Tempting.
Mm-hmm. And he still might end up going for it after seeing what the multicaster pulls.
Magic?
But it'll be pretty heads up if he does not end up playing that out. Yeah. See the Phoenix come down and perhaps another Piranha to deal with another one of these dudes. Or a Sleep Breaker and a Piranha to deal with another one of these dudes.
Another one. Yeah, and we continue to see Frank prioritizing the dudes, which I think is smart. I think we're going to see the Quartermaster come down right now. 2 arms, men.
And Schmoopie trading appropriately here to preserve as many dudes as he can, especially with this Warhorse Trainer in hand.
Yeah, and we don't see it as much in WoW, but Brucon does 2 to everything, right? So it won't kill these little dudes over here.
My time has come.
Can get a couple taunts, though.
Yeah, can get taunts, can heal for 6. I imagine that we'll see the taunts come down, though. Yeah.
Snap pick.
Frank knew exactly what he was looking for.
Talk about value trade, though.
Level up.
Oh my. That
Build the bridge for this turn to preserve. But level up could just be backbreaking.
level up with the tour guide in hand as well. Like,
Prophet, guide me.
he took it.
Yeah.
Here for the tour.
Yeah, so with those dudes trading off, looks like we're going to see that Solid's Pride come down for a draw.
Yeah. Well, and if he can pull it off, I mean, I was thinking he might play it next turn. He played it this turn, the tour guide rather. So getting 2 1/1 dudes now. If things get cleared, next turn he can play 2 more and then level up. And my goodness, I don't know that there's another way like to clear a full board of large minions with the Warhorse Trainer in hand as well to give everything additional damage.
Yeah, well, and Schmoopie also playing that Solid's Pride because you can see what the next Brucon hero power is going to be. That hero power is 2 more taunts. So that Solid's Pride trades in pretty nicely into one of those taunts.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for Frank, that Farsight pulling a 1 mana spell. So only getting 1 mana discount. Pay 3 for it though.
I'm coming.
I think the long-term game plan of Frank here is to try to go wide, use bioluminescence, and shoot a bunch of spells at Schmoopie's face. Just a little bit, you know, in the danger zone here, and I think that there's a pretty good chance that we're going to, see the hero power and level up here. And what a board! It's Quartermaster round 2 and 6 damage to the face.
Light dims, but we fight.
And Schmoopie wisely preserving the health on those Silverhand recruits and cleaning that up.
Frank can stall a little bit, so we've got a wind chill here. Yeah, so
Scalding Geyser. May have to see a lava burst come down, but I know he's trying to hold on to that if he can.
he can heal for 6.
True.
And then really do a ton of damage next turn. I imagine we probably see the wind chill come down and maybe the hero power just to try to stall a turn. I mean, I think Frank's game plan is to try to OTK.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah,
gonna
so-
be a a close one either way.
Yeah, it really is. So Frank wisely starting off with the draw. Oh, and holding on to that Serpent Shrine portal. But he knows that he has Schmoopie board locked. Because, yeah, if Schmoopie had been able to drop a Warhorse Trainer, that may have been GG's. But instead,
Yeah.
Frank's doing the maths that I don't have the bandwidth to right now.
So Frank right now has spell damage +4. About to have spell damage +6.
Frank's did the math,
Another one. Another one.
and it is in fact enough.
Wow. What a close matchup there. That's
incredible.
yeah. All right. Well, Frank taking game 3 here with the shaman victory.
And that leaves Frank just with that quest hunter.
Yep. All right. You think we'll see well, I guess it doesn't matter because they're queuing up. All right.
Yeah, Schmoopie, knowing that he's playing against Quest Hunter, he's isolated that. In order to progress, he's going to have to win with both, but Lost in the Park, this quest line druid, I feel like may have the most possibility because it can just gain so much armor.
Agreed. Yeah. I think it's favored because of the armor gain.
Yeah, and has so much burst potential itself with all of the, attack that it progresses throughout the game. So heads up play by Schmoopie to queue this up. But he will still have to win with that odd paladin as well to win the series. And that's going to be a tough one for him.
Yeah, I agree with the questline hunter with a bunch of 1/1 dudes on the board. They make very good targets for all these spells here, so on to kind of curious to see whether Frank wants to start sending spells face or use the hero power. Looks like we're going to see, yeah, all right. So on the hunt and wound prey, leaving 2 1/1 hyenas on the board.
And Schmoopie can clear it up with a hero power, can clean it up with a talented arcanist. Decides to go with the hero power to progress his own quest line and the living roots to take care of the other. Not leaving Frank with a minion to use this overwhelm on,
Yeah, it's
making him have to have base damage.
Yeah, it's kind of twofold as well because Frank is running kill command, and so leaving beasts on the board, makes those do more damage as well. And Schmoopie's got a bunch of minions here, but I almost wonder if Frank, just to progress the quest, plays something like on the hunt and then use the what's it called here, the overwhelm, like on his own minion. Could see it.
Yeah, I think it's quite possible. And now Frank has progressed the quest. And we do see that overwhelm come down. Well, there it is.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's hovering. And just the rush here by Frank to complete the quest here. So that was very fast. So we'll see Tavish come down on turn 5. We know that I think one of Hunter's weaknesses is the lack of draw. But we see Frank in hand with the Conk's Call, so drawing a Naga and a spell, and the coin. It's just going to be able to keep doing a lot of damage. Schmoopie with 32 health right now, though. 12 armor.
Yeah, so they're both doing what they can to take care of business.
This,
I bet you can do this.
Beauty is more than scale deep.
And that moonbeam comes down and deals with that Tavish.
oh no.
And that secure the deck will also, of course, help Schmoopie progress his quest once he is able to finish that off and gain more armor, which is particularly relevant in this matchup.
Yeah, it makes me wonder what strategy Frank is going to take here in terms of, do we clear the minions? Are we worried about the spell damage? Do we want to ship everything face to try to get through all that armor?
Mm-hmm. And looks like Frank is going with the latter and just pushing face, seeing if he can chip Schmoopie down.
Yeah. Well, and drawn a little bit late, now we see in hand 2 copies of Kill Command to do 5 if you have a beast and 3 otherwise, so...
And Schmoopie debating at least dropping the Crystal Merchant. No real reason not to at this point. But decides to hold on to it.
Quest progression is at only 1 out of 5 to get additional armor.
Yeah.
That is the downside of these spell damage minions not necessarily doing what that quest wants.
No. Frank, however, with a lot of cheap spells in hand to just go off this turn, has a couple of spell damage minions in hand at least. Electing to kill off that rainbow glow scale of Schmoopie.
That is a lot of damage in a very short amount of time. We might even see one more down, and this arcane shot could be doing 4. Oh, no, it didn't. I'm sorry, the hero power doesn't reset. Yeah, okay.
And the hero power only would with the
With a
arcane shot itself. Yeah. So Schmoopie finishing the side quest, using it for armor, both from the claws themselves and from the questline progression, gaining additional here. Heads up play. But no real way to clean up more than one of those rainbow glow scales.
Oh, and there is Guff.
Another happy gift.
And actually, with Guff's 5 armor here, we'll take care of 5 out of the 6 requirement here.
So
I think, right? Does it? I mean, it just says you have to gain armor, right?
you have to gain
Oh, I'm sorry,
attack.
it's attack.
Yeah.
It shows you how much I play this deck. All right, well, there's a clause here and a hero power, so that'll be 3. Okay, I imagine Guff probably comes down anyways, because Guff is, like, pretty awesome. Draws you a card and plus gains additional armor.
Yeah, gaining the armor, drawing a card, and of course the hero power of, yes, gaining mana crystals, but more relevantly here, being able to cycle through your deck and find more armor or attack gain, which will in turn, of course, gain Schmoopie more armor.
Frank is awfully close to lethal. I think 19. If he plays both kill commands and the arcane shot and the coin. Could be off. My mental math is a little bit rusty on a Friday night, but looks like he's electing to wait anyhow. I wonder if he's looking for a beast to try to get that extra damage in.
And that could be quest completion.
All right, so Schmoopie needs 6. We've got 3 with Nash and another 2 with Claw.
Job done.
Schmoopie sending that damage face, saying that he does not respect the +1 spell damage of that rainbow glow scale, and pushing for lethal himself. Guild Trader really heads up inclusion for Frank in this questline Hunter in particular.
Oh, I agree. It was multi-use. It not only does it check the box of our deck building restriction, but the trade ability is wonderful in this deck. We saw it used a lot with the Viper when the deck was being played a lot on ladder.
Yeah, and, you know, yes, 4 mana, but that +2 spell damage, quite relevant. I mean, if you look at Frank's hand, that's a lot of damage that can go face.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So Frank might not even trade it off. He might play it. Does elect to trade. Frank's doing much more mental math here than I am.
Yeah, just sending as much damage as possible. This druid gains armor so fast that it's sort of the race of, you know, who can, can the hunter out ace the ability of the druid to keep armoring up over and over and over.
Yeah, and Schmoopie is going to do what he can to gain the most armor by corrupting the Moon-Touched Amulet. Does gain mana crystals to do so that he can also play Guff the Tough.
Wow.
Nobody messes with my friends.
Gaining more armor, gaining more attack, putting Frank to 5, putting Schmoopie over 30.
18 armor. Yeah, no, that's I think that this is going to 5 games.
Another happy guildie.
I don't see a way to get through all of that. I mean, at this point, I think Frank has to take out the Guff.
Mm-hmm.
Which is really not what he wants to be doing.
No, he would much rather be pushing that 8 damage face, but he can't afford to take 8. He would just die.
Without looking at it offhand, does Frank have what's it called? Like Dragon's Bane or whatever it is to do the extra damage? Like,
He does, yes.
okay. I was gonna say he's digging for something, right? I mean, he's got to have a way to try to chip through all of this armor. Okay, well, this is the turn to do it, if ever there was one. Unfortunately, it is not going to
This one's a real page turner.
be enough here.
No. So Frank, of course, having to gamble on Schmoopie not having any attack, but Malfurion the Pestilence will give Schmoopie attack. So Malfurion comes down for lethal, and we are going to game 5.
Wow. Well played.
Yep.
Haven't seen that card in a while. And game 5 it is. While they're queuing up, I imagine they'll queue up quickly. I want to look really quickly. So it's this Dragon Bane here, I think, that is what Frank was digging for.
Yes.
Like, that's the only real way to chew through all that armor.
Yeah. Unfortunate for Frank, he just couldn't get to it. He definitely churned through his deck as much as he could to try and find it. But alas. And now we see the odd paladin. So we'll see. Ooh, Schmoopie. This is not the opening hand that Schmoopie wants to see, with Baku in opening hand. Drew patches.
Rip.
Having to pass on 1. No tour guide. So the only way Schmoopie can really punish this is by getting on board fast, and passing turn 1 is not what he wanted to do there.
Yeah. Yeah, a strong deck, but this is it's a big target for the questline hunter here. Overwhelm is a tricky card to kind of play sometimes, but these dudes are great targets for it. I'd imagine we'll probably see both of them come down. Maybe not.
Yeah, I think Frank kind of noticing, knowing this matchup, Schmoopie only really has damage from board, right? He's only playing minions, so Frank knows that he's going to be able to progress with the overwhelm later.
Right.
Frank's sending an aim shot face. Just completely disrespecting these dudes.
Reporting for duty.
The light dim.
Well,
But we
if for whatever reason Frank doesn't take them out, there's a quartermaster in hand. Well, I have to imagine we probably see them all go down right now. And look, there is that Dragon's Bane that he was looking for last game.
Yeah, it's
So
finally found it.
no Nagas in hand actually, so I really don't see a way that Frank is going to be able to use the barb nets to take out 2 of these.
Yeah, he can take out 3 total with the overwhelm, barb nets, and his hero power.
It's kind of sad to use a 4 damage hero power on a 1/1.
Yeah.
But, I and again, we have caster vision, but knowing that Schmoopie's hand is pretty clunky, like, you've got to imagine that he's drawn higher cost cards. And, I don't know, you ever played or odd paladin, you have to respect the silver hand recruits.
Yeah.
They just get too dangerous. All right, well, dollars to donuts, quartermaster comes down. Oh, yep.
Job's done.
+4/+4. Good enough.
I almost wonder if we see the Dragon's Bane come down just to try to take out some of these.
Yeah, it's possible. Also, just the on the hunt and hero power will also do the trick. More to the point, on the hunt.
Point Tavish, yeah.
Finishes the quest.
Wow, he finished that quest fast. Okay. Okay, never mind. Not used to that quest being completed. We used to see the deck played so frequently, and it's been kind of a while.
For duty. Reporting for duty. Job's done.
Ooh, and there's a spell for Frank to reset that hero power. Kind of deciding whether he wants to play the spell or play the Dragon Bane. So if he plays the Dragon Bane, then he wants to hero power first.
This is definitely a board. I feel like it needs to be respected. It can still get out of control pretty fast with the Warhorse trainers, and there's still a second quartermaster running around.
Mm-hmm. And connecting 7 to the face.
Wow. All right. Well, it's gonna be a close one. Schmoopie's got 9 on board, plus the Leroy is 15. So
2 off.
gosh, with one mana difference, this Warhorse trainer would do the trick here.
Really?
Yeah, so
It's not too
Schmoopie
heavy.
looks like he's going to elect to clear off this Tavish with the minions that he's just playing now, and the broomstick, of course.
Makes sense though. This allows him to Still push as much damage face as possible.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, can Frank take him out from 12? There's only one spell in hand.
That Conscious Call could definitely help, though, since it does draw another spell. But is it going to be enough?
Leroy doing 7 now because of the, what's it called? Bannerman, Alliance Bannerman.
Yeah, so Schmoopie only needing 1 damage on top of that Leroy. Oh, this is down to the wire.
Mm-hmm. Well, and with the hero power doing 2, not 3, it's not going to clear these Silverhand recruits.
So with Caster Vision, kind of looks like dropping the Dragon Bane. And then, of course, hero powering, and then Conscious Calls kind of the out. But there's no way Frank can know just how
Quickly.
on the back foot he really is here. And clearing off as much as he can. Looks like he's probably going to leave behind 4 on board. With a 7 from Leroy, we are going to be seeing SchmoopieDaddy go to the semifinals. Oh, lad.
Wow. What a match.
5-game match. Down to the wire. That could have been anyone's game, but Schmoopie taking the unfavorable matchup of Odd Paladin into Questline Hunter for the win. Oh man, that was a series. Whew.
That was intense.
So SchmoopieDaddy taking the win there. Frank did let us know beforehand that he's not able to do a voice call afterwards. But I'll see if we can jump in with SchmoopieDaddy for a post-match interview. All right, so let's jump into that post-match interview with our very own SchmoopieDaddy. Well
Greetings.
played, SchmoopieDaddy. You are going to the semifinals in an intense 5-game match. How are you feeling right now, bud?
I knew from testing with Pigpen a little bit earlier today that the matchups were a little polarized. So I was really, really anxious about queue order, and I think it happened to work out. I knew I had 3 decks that were pretty good into the Hunter, but it's Questline Hunter, so you can never really, and Frank's an incredible player. I've tested with him a bit early in the season, and our Mega Highlander week, I'm pretty sure I snagged like an idea or 2 from him from our testing. So that was that was just, I feel great. I'm really excited to still be participating next week, and but I do want to say congratulations to Frank for having such a strong showing his first season in the listener series, and hopefully we'll see him many more times to come.
Absolutely. What a match. Thank you for the show, by the way. Anytime a match goes to 5 games, like we're on the edge of our seat, and in that last one, I think that you really were unfavored there with the Questline Hunter's ability to just take out these 1/1s over and over and over.
So that That was a matchup I actually felt pretty good in.
Okay.
Just because he has to run so many minions. I don't know what his hand looked like. I know when Pigpen was testing it, it felt like the odd Paladin was favored. But an interaction, and I don't think we got to see, was how the Naga spell, the 3-mana Naga spell, where it deals 3 damage and then it deals 2 and then it deals 1, that scales with spell damage. So if he has like a little spell damage minion down, and I can't clear it, like one of his 3-mana spells could clear the whole board. But it's so swarmy and he has so few spells. It was, it felt odd Paladin favored, but I could definitely easily lose it. Just because it's Questline Hunter.
Yeah. You'll have to watch the match back later as well. I mean, it's different for us because we can see what's in both people's hands, and so
Right.
it's always interesting to see how people are going to go. Let me ask, when you were building these, like, in any special thought process in terms of deck building?
Sure. I mean, so it was spell damage week. So my immediate thought was, well, let me just armor out a combo range, which is where the Questline Druid came from. You don't need a ton of cards of support for that to get online, and the armor gain is really key. What was kind of crazy about that match is, like, I thought Questline Hunter was free for the armor druid, but that was about the worst draw I could possibly have. And I still think I ended with 32 armor. So like that was part of the process. I was like, okay, so how do I outdo burn combos?
It was very
And then-
close. We just, when we were looking at your deck, we're like, oh yeah, there's Guff. Oh, and that's a Malfurion the Pestilent, and that's what won you that game.
Yeah, everybody. Doc Bomb scratched his head. Doc BOMD scratched his head at that too. He's just like, really, you're running both? Like, yeah, you need to run both just for some late game aggression if you need it.
You get to tell him I told you so.
The other thought process was in testing, like we thought it would be combo heavy initially, and Doc kind of just sort of threw out like, well, what about Odd Paladin? That's legal, and I was like, that's kind of lame. But then I kind of looked at it, and Arcane Watcher on its own can be kind of a win condition.
We commented on that. It was like, wait a minute, that's an Arcane Watcher. I had to look up what it did, and as like a card that has seen like no play ever, to be able to finally use it.
Silence Priest in Standard in a tier 2 deck. That is it. And back in Rise of Shadows, that's the only time it's really ever seen play.
And
so
Odd Shaman too.
Odd Shaman too. It was a star in Odd Shaman.
Yeah.
But we quickly transitioned to the board based stuff just because the board based stuff looked so strong this week. Especially into combo stuff. If you could get under combos, you'd do okay.
That Face Hunter, by the way, was incredibly fast. My goodness.
I shamelessly yoinked that from Doc. I was just like, Doc, what about a Face Hunter? And he's just like, let me think about it. Drew something up. I looked at it. I was like, let's put Trog in it. It's like, oh yeah, Trog good. We changed a couple cards and then went from there.
Well, the proof is definitely in the pudding with both you and Doc progressing in statistical upsets for both of y'all. So congratulations. That's your planning and your execution both paid off.
It paid off, man, and I'm glad it was a fun. It's a tight series.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I knew it was polarized. I had one free matchup in the Druid into the Hunter from my mind, and his Ping Mage was like Frank's Ping Mage. That was probably the best of the 6 decks. Like that deck itself, in testing, I could not beat it. I could not beat it with anything, and which surprised me because like I knew it was going to be tough. I did not expect it to be that good. Just minion removal for days. So he had a free matchup. I had a free matchup. So again, it was like, okay, can I sweep his Hunter or can I, snag a win here or there and make it a little easier to get past the Hunter? And it happened to work out this time.
Heck yes, it did.
Yeah, big congrats. So, all right, Sheep, who is Schmoopie facing off against next week?
Yeah, so next week Schmoopie gets to face off against Martian Boo.
What? All right, you got it.
Easy. He's a chump, right? Like that's like a freeze, basically. That's. I'm not crying. You're crying. No, that's gonna be a lot. That's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm Amazon Prime sub to Martian. I love his streams. So, probably one of the top combo player / deck builders in the game right now. So, really excited.
Hello, it's the Martian.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Well, big congrats. I'm a little bit sad that we didn't get to see your secret mage, just because you are like the secret mage player.
Oh no! Do you want to know a secret? Secret mage. It wasn't my idea.
What?
Doc built it, and I was like, that looks terrible. No. And then he played it against me. I was like, all right, I'm bringing the secret mage. I didn't think it could work, but it was just, again, it was kind of like, it had just enough disruption and a little bit of like, sort of like board. It was very board based again, and it was not stuff you can easily remove. 4/4s, 5/5s. Stuff with 3 health.
Well, and stuff I hadn't thought about before, but spell damage into explosive runes, spell damage into flame ward, like that's some spice right there.
Yeah, and again, I can't take credit for it because me being the puritanical secret mage player, I looked at it, I was like, nah, it's missing too many pieces. It's not gonna be any good. And then we tested. I'm like, nah, this is too good. I can't not bring this. Oh man, I'm so stoked for the semifinals. I get to play for a chance to not owe myself 15 packs.
So looking ahead at next week, we'll be in our semifinals or week 7. Looking at some elemental stuff, and it'll be interesting. So challenge for next week, primary challenge is each deck must contain at least 8 elemental minions, and then the secondary challenge is each deck must contain 15 cards that are legal in standard and 15 cards that are legal only in wild. And so
kind of old with a bit of the new.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
I think this one was Maxi Bond's challenge too, if I remember putting it together. He was just like, you can't fit a lot of meta decks in wild, modern meta decks, if you have to use standard cards as well as wild cards. It gets a little awkward with substitutions. So see some might see some familiar stuff with some sort of jank inclusions, but I think you might see some brand new stuff too. And it's always interesting to see what's more powerful, the new sort of meta breaking stuff or the meta stuff with some jank inclusions.
I really just hope that we see Frotchlich Jaina thrown in there somewhere, truthfully.
Oh my, I would love to see that.
Martian's definitely bringing that, you know it.
Hey, I mean,
I sincerely hope so.
It
It's
syncs
gonna
up
be so much fun to watch.
It syncs up well with the elementals, so
absolutely.
Wouldn't mind seeing some shaman myself. Kalimos, anybody?
I cannot confirm or deny any of my thoughts on that.
Hey, we don't want to give anything away before it's too soon, but congrats on making it this far. Hey, big shout out to Dr. BUMD for being a good test partner there, and
100%. We won both our matches, so our dojo is strong. Our dojo is working.
A lot of what we do with the show is based on community. And one of the things that we all kind of learned the hard way is you can't, because of the nature of this listener series and the custom deck building restrictions, like you can't practice these on ladder. You just can't unless you want to lose. And so it forces people to partner up, play test decks together, and hopefully build some friendships across the way.
100%, and honestly, that's the most fun, I think, about the listener series. It's not even that maybe necessarily the individual match itself. It's the amount of time. It's the playtest matches, theory crafting and putting it together. Like, if you're a deck builder, that's really like the big draw into joining, just because it's it's fun exploring a new meta and trying to break it, especially when you're sick of whatever you're facing on ladder, wherever you are on the table,
Absolutely. Well, appreciate the kind words. I'm glad that you're having fun. I'm glad that you've made it this far. So
I told you guys when I got swept week 1, I had a shot at getting back in. I just had to put my head down and get there, and I put my head down and got there. So
well, that's right. And I think that's a good point. What we see sometimes with these type of things is somebody will lose early on and then they drop out, like, oh well, now I'm never going to make it to the playoffs, and that is not the case here, because every match counts. And so you can get swept, you can lose weeks, and like I think we were talking earlier, I think for you it was kind of neck and neck, and you got in to the playoffs, and was close there. So big congrats, and I'm glad that you've stuck with it. And for other people that are thinking about playing, like, well, we hope that you do.
Yeah, and I mean, what ends up happening based on how you guys set it up is the top kind of cannibalizes itself, where if you have a bunch of people with sweeps, they're playing each other. They're not getting further away from you. They're sort of, knocking into each other's win rates. So you can claw your way back as long as you keep with it and win your matches.
It's working as intended then.
Exactly as intended.
Exactly.
All right, friends. Well, I think that's about it for us. I mean, before we wrap up, any final shout outs or anything that you want to say before we call it an evening here?
100%. Shout out to Pigpen for me basically stealing like 2 hours of him before the show, doing some testing. Obviously, big shout out to Dr. BUMD for testing this week. And then I guess a little extra shout out to my wife, Schmoopie Mommy, and my buddy Neon Heron, who still plays the game. And I give periodic screenshots and updates too, and we chat on the phone every day about. So yes, shout outs to that. In there.
Excellent support system you have there. Big shout outs. Well,
also to Frank, by the way. Also to Frank, because he was a hell of a competitor, built some great decks. Looks like it just didn't work out for him this time, but I hope he's back.
Hey, agreed all around, and I swear that last game was neck and neck. I mean, if you didn't win that turn, he would have probably won the next turn, and it was like it was that close. So again, yeah, check it out later. We'll post it. It'll be on YouTube tomorrow, and it's always interesting to see with Caster Vision. We're kind of predicting what everyone is going to play each turn, and sometimes we're right, sometimes we're wrong. But this one was just neck and neck, so very very fun to watch.
Yeah, everyone played to their outs. It was just such a fun match to watch, such a fun match to cast. So thank you again for, of course, participating all season, but especially for letting us highlight your match here, because it was an intense one, and we really lucked out to be able to watch it. So thank you.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yep. All right, my friend. Have a wonderful night.
Have a good night.
Thank you.